Good morning. Thank you for coming for attending Micro World today. My name is Javier Valladares. I have the role of sales engineer for the OEM and embedded analytics team within MicroStrategy. I've been with MicroStrategy for over 21 years. And so I've had a large number of years in experience in business intelligence. And the goal for today is to talk about how to turn your data into a differentiator, how companies can leverage their current investment in their data, infrastructure of the data, databases, data repositories, security, defining security profiles, etc., and how to leverage and take that usage of the data to the very next level. So one of the things that we have found is that the data is not getting used as it should be at different levels in organizations. And the goal is to use the data to make better informed decisions at every single level in an organization, in a company. So let's start by running a poll, the first poll, and is, do you happen to know the percentage of the employees who has access to analytics that they need in their daily workflows? So we have different options: A, 25%, B, 50%, C, 20%, D, not sure.
Javier, I opened the poll for you, so let's give the people a couple of seconds to enter the poll. Sure. For the attendees, sorry, we had some glitches in the previous poll, but I think we managed to solve that, so I can read out the correct numbers this time.
Yeah, excellent. So, what is the percentage of the employee who has access to analytics in their daily workflows?
So the answers that I got is 20%. No, sorry. Yeah, 20% for answer B, 60% for answer C, and 20% is not sure.
Okay, makes total sense. It makes total sense. So we have run the same surveys previously on different company meetings and meetings with different sessions and meetings with customers and worlds, and we got pretty much very similar responses, that only 20% of the employees really have access to analytics when they need it. And digging into this and talking to different customers, we found out, we came up to a conclusion that it's because of three different reasons. One is time. So the problem is that, the issue is when a user, a person has to make a decision or needs the information because they are now in a workflow, in one of the workflow, the daily workflow, and it needs information from either the BI application or from other applications, then the information is not right there. This person has to go out of their application, go into the BI interface, look for the information they need, or to other applications. And then once they learn about the data, the information they need, then they can apply that information to their workflow, to the current workflow. And that implies that they can do it sometime, but then in the end, they're going to rely on their instinct because the data is not at hand when they need it. Think about someone in the procurement department and is going through a purchase process, and he can purchase a product from 3 different suppliers. And maybe this person needs information, very quick and consolidated information about the 3 different suppliers. and he doesn't have it at hand. So he needs to either go to the BI tool or go to the supplier system and then look at this information from these 3 suppliers and then come back to the purchasing process in order to decide to which of these suppliers is gonna do the purchases for. So this is one of the main problems or the main issues. Second is expertise. So BI interfaces or BI tools and interfaces and dashboard, they are very intuitive, but they are tailored for some kind of roles, some kind of people that do analytics and analysis on top of information. But there is a large number of employees that actually they're not trained to use these kind of interfaces, or even they're too complex or too much information to what they actually really need. So this is a second thing, I think a second topic, the expertise that prevents people from using, or employees to have access to analytics when they need it. And third one is trust. So if we want to inject or infuse analytics into workflows, or if you have different systems that provide analytics and KPIs and information to the users, and they use different applications, then you don't have a single version of the truth or a single source of the truth that could lead into different definitions for the same KPIs. So trust is also a problem or an issue when we try to leverage a high investment like the data to all the users or all the possible employees inside of a company. So that's where analytics, or where we can inject analytics into different portals, and that's embedded analytics. So the idea is, let's go to the interface that your users actually use for their workflow and inject data analytics into that interface directly, so they have it at hand when they need it. So you have a transactional system with your different interfaces, your different features and functions from the purchasing application. And then you may need information about the supplier. So let's take supplier information and put it inside of the purchasing application. And that's what we're talking about today. That's embedded analytics. So according to Gartner, by 2023, in 2 years, 60% of organizations will compose a component from 3 or more analytics solutions to build a decision-oriented application infused with analytics that connect insights to action. That is, by 2023, according to Gartner, organizations are going to be 60% of organizations, they're going to inject and infuse analytics into their application, decision-oriented applications. By 2023, organizations that have adopted this approach will have a competitive advantage by 80% from those that haven't done so. So it reminds me, someone asked Stephen earlier today from Sainsbury about embedding, or Stephen spoke about how they are actually working in Sainsbury's to embed or infuse analytics directly into their applications, different from BI applications, and embedding that data into the workflows directly to improve the decision-making by giving more data and more information when the decision is taken. So why invest in embedded analytics? So why is it important? Why Sainsbury is thinking about investing in embedded analytics? Well, the first one is increases adoption. That is, when we push or we inject analytics inside of the applications on the daily application, we're leveraging or we are taking more advantage of the data and all the investment that we have done on the data. We can make better decisions because the decisions are better informed. And because when we take or we make the decision, then we have the data that support that decision right in there. And we don't need to rely on instinct that often as we're doing right now. And it improves business value. You are making your workflows and your business a lot more efficient, which leads into a competitive advantage against your competition. So you can improve your business value. We're going to see later on that we can even use your data as an additional or a new source of revenue for your business. So you can open a new line of revenue based or leveraging or exposing the data that you have from your business, from your daily business, and expose that to your suppliers, to your customers, to other business that could be interested in using that data. And finally, it will drive innovation. So MicroStrategy has a rich set of APIs that expose that data and that knowledge through an API. That's one of the way that we can embed or infuse that knowledge into existing applications. But we can also use other tools like bots, like natural language engines, like Python scripts, in order to leverage that data and open new forms or new ways to leverage or to have access to that knowledge and to have access to that information. So, adoption. How embedded analytics helps to increase adoption? Decisions in organizations are made not only by top management or middle management. We all make decisions at our own level. So people or employees at lower level in the hierarchy also make decisions. Maybe the decisions are not that impactful as decisions that are made by top management, but there are thousands and thousands of these small decisions taken on daily basis by all the ground force. So it's important to reach out to as many people as possible within the organization. So in order to get or to have the 100% of adoption and leverage the data as much as possible, then what we offer is a way to integrate the analytics into the workflows to automate part of them, or to provide the data and the information whenever they need. So we inject the data directly into the workflows that are used or are executed by every single employees of the organization. That's how we can improve adoption and get the benefits of knowledge at every single decision in the organization. So how embedded analytics improve the return of investment and drive innovation? So one way is to leverage or to use or to take more advantage of the investment that you have done in the data and investment that you have done in the data. But also you can open new business or a new source of revenue using your data or exposing your data to customers or to suppliers, or to open a new line of business using the data. So you can create a new business model in which you can create different level of services that you can expose, and you can price those services and use the data for this. For example, let's assume that you are a retailer, and a retailer has information very valuable for the suppliers, because it has information about how the products are getting sold, information about the level of stocks of each product for the suppliers. When a product is going to go out of stock for any specific store, and the supplier will use that information to improve the delivery of this product, to improve the planning workflows and the planning process to supply those products, so the store doesn't go out of stock and loses or misses sales because they don't have products in store. And you can actually pack that as a solution. You can pack that as a product. This retailer can pack that as a product and sell it to the suppliers. So the suppliers are going to get a lot of value out of that information, that they're going to be willing to pay for that data or for that information. There are different business scenario or different ways that it could be priced, and it could be a really relevant source of additional revenue for the company. And then you can also build portals that deliver this target insight to your partners or to your customers. So according to Gartner's, this revenue stream made out of data and increase the ROI is among the top 10 use cases for the data and the analytics in 2021. So Gartner is also thinking in data monetization and externalization of the data as one of the sources of revenue, and adding value to the data that you currently have. Okay, so how can we embed this data and this insight and this knowledge into your applications, into your existing portals? So coming back in history, there was different technologies, different ways that we could have done it, or we have done it. We started with back in the ages with the portals, in which you have different portals using you can embed content and information using portlets inside of the portal. You have a portal server that you use to create the portal, and it's very limited, the information that you can post in a portal using this technology. Communication back and forth between the container application and the content itself is very limited, and it's difficult to create. Since this communication is very limited, it's difficult to have the BI or the insight to move data to the actually holding application to create or to make actionable insights. Then came our customers started to integrate or embed insights and knowledge using iframes. This is currently used quite extensively, and it's a more advanced way to do it compared to portlets. It has some restrictions also regarding both communication between the content and the container it contains this content, and also that limited communication limits the possibility to pass parameters from the container to the content and from the content back to the container. One big advantage is that compared to portals, the previous one is that it could be fully interactive, and you can even author and create content and dossiers and dashboard from an embedded iframe, which opens options for self-service to your customers. Then our embedding API came along, and the embedding API is a full and rich set of API that allows you to embed and integrate MicroStrategy content at the div tag level within your portal. That means that you can embed the content inside of any specific section or area in your interface. So you have your application, your window where you have the workflow, where you implement the workflow, and part of that window, then you can infuse the insight in a little corner to support what you have, the rest of the application that takes over the rest of the window. Since it's all managed using JavaScript, there is a full communication between the content and the container, which means that you can click on the content that is getting embedded and infused into the app, and you can capture data from where you have clicked in the container application. So you can add or you can include that information, that data, as part of the workflows and as part of the transactions that you want to run, you want to execute from here. And finally, we have a HyperIntelligence. It's a more disruptive way to embed content inside of an application, and that's not done at that's not necessarily done at the application level, but it's done at the browser level. So with HyperIntelligence, we can create our set or our cards, which is what we see in the video popping up, where we consolidate or collect general information about a specific topic, and we index that topic by a text. So whenever that text comes up in your application, then we can hover over that text, and the card will pop up automatically. So there's two ways that we can embed or we can leverage HyperIntelligence into the application. One is at the browser level, in which we have an extension for the browser, and any application that that is loaded in that browser can leverage HyperIntelligence. So this is a perfect way to embed analytics inside application that we don't own the source code. For example, any CRM or any HR application or any procurement or purchase application that we don't own the code. It's a third-party tool, and we can do that embedding at the browser level. Second way is that we can leverage HyperIntelligence is through its SDK. So we have a rich set of SDK that allows you to embed HyperIntelligence and leverage HyperIntelligence, switch on and off HyperIntelligence within your own application where you have the code. So you just need a few lines of code to enable this functionality, this feature, and then you're ready to go. You can enable switch on and off HyperIntelligence as part of your solution when you own your solution or you own your portal. Now, it's time for the second poll. So embedded analytics, build versus buy. What will be your choice? So what would you do if you want to infuse, if you want to leverage embedded analytics? Are you going to build your own solution, invest time and resources in building your own solution, or you're going to go for a third-party tool and buy this capability and reuse it and adapt it into your solution?
So let me see. We have 67% that build their own solution and 33% that buy.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Interesting. So we have a lot of our organizations have chosen to buy solutions like MicroStrategy to do embedding or to take knowledge, or to cook the data and produce insights and knowledge and put it and embed it into their applications or their solutions. And instead of stop focusing, or they're going to be focusing more on the core of their business, and then use this MicroStrategy as a way to do the embedding piece of it. So why organizations have chosen MicroStrategy to do so? One is the modern, open, and enterprise platform. So the secret sauce for MicroStrategy is regarding embedding. One of the secret sauce is the metadata and the object-oriented reusable architecture and metadata, which allows us to actually create a single version of the truth, a single definitions for all the different KPIs and for the business model that could be reused and leveraged anywhere that MicroStrategy is getting used. Actually, one of the reasons that Saurabh from Booking.com decided to go with MicroStrategy was precisely the semantic graph, and how we can provide this single version of the truth when defining different KPIs or defining different business models. And this is the secret sauce, and this is how we can grant the trust in the data, which is one of the stoppers that we looked and we saw at the beginning of the presentation. One of the challenges organizations are facing on why they can, when it comes out to embedding MicroStrategy into their solution. Second is a rich set of APIs. We're investing heavily in the interface of a REST API, so we'll have we're going to have an easy way to access MicroStrategy with all the security behind it using a REST API. You can use JavaScript, you can use Python, you can use the embedding SDK, so you can leverage this reusable object architecture and metadata into any applications that you want. And then we have an enterprise level security, not only security at the data level, but at the platform and infrastructure level. So the metadata, as you know, we have an object-oriented metadata where you define the KPIs and the formula for your application components and application object only once. And if you need to update that, then it's easy for you to just change it in one single place, and it will be, this change will be projected to the rest of the API of the objects or the dashboards and the dossier, which means that you can always assess the impact of changing a KPI definition. You can only see who is using an API, in which data set that is getting exposed this API is getting used, or which reports or data sets are getting updated when we update one of these API. That makes the change management a lot more efficient. It reduces cost for the DevOps processes and allows us to implement mass customizations of the content. So we have here an example of how two different customers or two different possible tenants can run the same exact dossier and look at it in a very different way. We can change or adapt the logo and images depending on the customer that actually executes that dashboard and connects to it. We also change the data that is underneath and the different name of the concepts and the business concept that we have in here. So we can develop or create a fully flexible business model that could adapt or will adapt to whoever clicks on the dashboard when consumes the information. That allows us to embed this content and different users with different roles will consume the content in a different way, or will see different things in when they see it from the interface. We have a rich set of API that allows us to leverage or extend the usage of the SDK of the metadata and the whole MicroStrategy platform across different applications and different interfaces. We have one specific SDK, which is the embedding SDK, which is the cornerstone for embedding MicroStrategy content into other applications. Then we have a military-grade security schema as part of the MicroStrategy platform, not only at the authoring level and not only at what data a user or a customer can see when executing a dossier, but also at the platform level, also at the communication between the different components. So we comply with different standards of certifications. We also run internal penetration tests on our software, as well as independent penetration tests, not only on new features that are getting added to the MicroStrategy platform release after release, but also to the old content that we have. We run penetration tests to check on new threats that are coming out on daily basis. So finally, MicroStrategy has been rated #1 BI by platform, but leading market researchers in a different ways. But basically, MicroStrategy has a broad range of features and functionality that could be leveraged into your application. So you can embed MicroStrategy for OLAP reporting or geospatial analysis, or implement transactions and close the loop between consuming information and consuming data, and execute and trigger transactions back and write data back into your data sources. HyperIntelligence, which are the cards of POTAC, and it's a very frictionless way to inject insight into applications, mobile analytics access from mobile devices, and then maybe you can use other tools, other BI tools as a front end that they lack of this metadata, this semantic graph, this business abstraction layer. So we can provide that robustness and that security, and then you can use any other front-end tool to access that data. So in order to implement embedded analytics, we provide our world-class services and professional services and support. We have a rich set of training and education, a catalog of education that is getting updated quarter by quarter and is getting tailored to different business needs and different roles within the organization. We also have a MicroStrategy community, which is an extensive portal that you have access to, and you can check on content and information that that you need for any specific requirements. So if you have any question, don't hesitate to drop an email to info@microstrategy.com, and it will be routed to the relevant person or the relevant team within MicroStrategy to answer your question. So thank you very much for attending this session. And if you want to dig into more details about MicroStrategy and how we can embed MicroStrategy analytics into your solution or into your CRM, into any other application, reach out to your account executive, and then you can request for a demo, and we can start from there. Thank you very much. I don't know if you have any questions in the question window.
Hey Javier, but there are a couple of questions that have already come in, and by the way, you know, for those people who are in the audience, please ready your typing fingers. We only have I guess a few minutes to tackle questions, so if you can you know, contribute a few more, that would be brilliant. So let me see what we have. So Ian says, could you please tell us a little bit more about how to create a revenue stream with embedded analytics and MicroStrategy? How does that sound? Yeah.
Sure. Well, basically what we have, some of our customers, what they have done is they have created a business model in which they, in one side, they tier their customers. They divide their customers in large, medium, and small customers, and then they provide also levels of services, maybe bronze, silver, and gold services, and then they define what they offer for different services in terms of type of analytics. If they're gonna include artificial intelligence algorithm inside of the dashboard, different type of dashboards, different volume of data that will be served as part of the different level of services. And then based on these two parameters, they price it. And they have a business model in which usually they price it or they charge it by month as a service. So they sell for a fee this service to these customers, so these enterprises on a monthly fee for them. And we can leverage any of the MicroStrategy contents and any of the MicroStrategy features and expose that as part of the portal and as part of the product they can create to do that. Some of our customers, what they do, they have a very basic layer of services that they provided for free, and then they have these different services that they charge for additional information or additional capabilities on top of the free charge service.
Okay, thank you, Javier. Ian, I hope that's answered your question. Pavel asks, how can I leverage HyperIntelligence for embedding?
Okay, there are basically two ways that you can leverage or use HyperIntelligence. So HyperIntelligence, well, first, HyperIntelligence is based, take the data out of a cube, a MicroStrategy cube, and you can populate the data of that cube from your analytics, from your data sources, different databases, but you can also populate that cube based on other applications we have. We have a rich library of connectors. They can connect to different applications, CRMs, HR applications, surveys, softwares. Okay, so we can use these, or we can also have an SDK for connectors that you can create your own connector to other data sources, which means that it's easy to get into MicroStrategy data coming from not only your data repository, but from other applications. You can build the HyperIntelligence card on top of that data, and then you can embed that HyperCard in applications either by the browser plugin or the browser extension, in which case you don't need to change anything in the source code of the application that you are using, in the front end of the application you're using, or you can use it through SDK, in which case you need to add some lines of code to your source code in order to switch on HyperIntelligence capability in your application. It means that you can, for example, leverage data coming from your HR application inside of your CRM application, because you use MicroStrategy as a bridge in order to expose the data in your HR application inside of your CRM application.
Cool. Okay. Well, I can't see any more questions. All I'm going to say is I've learned that a scalable business intelligence platform, something with zero code analytics, but at the same time, the ability to govern data at any scale, is the sort of thing that any company would be able to leverage to generate more revenue. It's a whole monetization thing. I'm absolutely with you, Javier. I've got a couple of customers who say, "Oh, we need a portal," and when you suggest to them, "Oh, wouldn't it be great if you could monetize it?" They go, "Yeah, we hadn't really thought about it that way." So yes,
it's a really line of business that you can put in place, and then take more advantage of the data that you already have out of your business.
Exactly. No, it's a great concept.